How to Sell Anything to Anyone. Author is Joe Girard. Chapter 1. The End of the Loser, The Birth of the Winner. Joe says that he had a difficult childhood. He grew up in a poor family where his father constantly beat him up for no reason. And he said that he was a complete nothing and that he would not achieve anything in life. And listening to this day after day, he began to believe his words. But then he decided to prove to himself and his father that he was worth something. He began to go to bars and clean in a working shoe for a small fee for which you could buy one ice cream. Then, when he turned 8, he plus to this began to work as a newspaper distributor. And one of the rules that he learned from childhood was that the more people he offered something to, the more sales he made. Even if 9 people refused, the 10th one would buy. Then he and the crooks robbed the bar, but he was lucky that the barman did not insist on his arrest. After that, he changed many different jobs. Joe also did not get anything with the army since he injured his back and was released from the service. In general, his life was not good until he met a man named Abe Saperstein. He was a real estate agent. Joe started working for him and soon started a family. And after a while, Abe left all the business to him. And things were going well until he was deceived by the land plot, after which he owed a large sum to the creditors. He had no money left in his pockets and had nothing to feed his wife and children. And to provide for his family, he came to the business of selling cars. From that moment on, he became the greatest trader in the world. He was included in the Guinness Book of Records. With this story, the author wanted to say that whatever your childhood was, no matter how much money you had in your pocket, if you strive for something, you will achieve it. Chapter 2. It all begins with want. Before you start selling something, first of all, you must know what you want. Second, you need to know what you can get if you sell your product to another customer. In our case, Joe wanted to provide his children with a decent life. He knew that if he sold the car to the person in front of him, he would be able to buy the necessary things and products. That's why he spent all his energy to make a deal. Chapter 3. The mooch is a human being. In Detroit, the man who wanted to buy a car, the merchants called a mooch. You should treat your customer with respect because he subconsciously feels when he is trying to deceive him and when the seller is rude to him. And because of this, a person begins to think that the seller is trying to get all his money and begins to hesitate and doubt in connection with what he spends your time. As a result, you and your client are dissatisfied. In fact, your clients are people who are persistent and hard work to earn their money and are sincerely interested, buy something from you. And going into the salon, they are afraid that the seller can deceive them in something. You will have a chance to sell something if you overcome the original fear of your client. If you are friendly and honest, you will benefit both you and your client. The client will now not doubt that he bought a good car and will recommend you to his friends. You will receive more and more new clients every time, so make the client a friend and he will work for you. Chapter 4. Girard's Law of 250. Whatever feelings you may have towards the client, do not allow them to influence your actions. Remember that, thanks to your clients, you earn for your life. Joe believes that everyone in life has an average of 250 people who are important enough for him to invite them to a wedding or funeral. How you treated them, then at the end of the year there will be already more than 5,000 people who were negatively influenced by those two. Therefore, you should not allow even one person to leave you upset and dissatisfied. No matter what kind of client the moron is, if you find the right approach, then he can bring your pocket money. Chapter 5. Don't join the club. This means that you should not gather with other sellers in a bunch and discuss what they were doing last night, or chat about other topics that have nothing in common with work. You are wasting your time with this. If everyone is lazy from work, try to take all the clients on yourself, so you can use more different approaches to the client and sell more often. So treat other employees with friendliness, but at work, try to keep purely business relations. Chapter 6. What do you do after you sell? Whatever you sell, there will always be people who want to buy it from you. To do this, you just need to find them. Joe just took a phone reference and started calling everyone in order. Yes, many refused him. Someone did not take the phone at all, but there were those few people who then came and bought cars from him. In any case, even such miserable results are better than standing in a smoking room and discussing with men how the day went. For people who are not interested in cars yet, you can ask what car they are driving now, when they are going to buy a new one, and other leading questions. Once you have all the information, put this person on your list, and then call back a couple of months from the time when you would like to change it, and in all possible ways, you can buy a car in your dealership. If by that time he already buys a car, ask if he knows any friends who are going to go to a dealership soon, and you can even offer them a discount. It doesn't matter what you sell. Spend your time to find out all the information you need, and then use it. For example, you sell computers to companies. Before making a proposal, try to first find out as much as possible about the company. How many people work in it? How long have they not bought computers? How often do they need repairs? Is the company growing now? Is it going to hire new people? All this information will help you in the future to build your offer so that you will definitely have an order. Chapter 7. Fill in the seat on your wheel of vision. Make sure everyone knows what you are doing. Therefore, first tell all your friends and acquaintances. According to the Law 250, soon you will be known much more people. When you buy a car, ask the person where he works, and if, for example, a butcher, then try at least sometimes buy meat from him. Thus, you not only improve relations, but also get new customers, because the butcher sometimes talks to his customers and can just inadvertently recommend you. Chapter 8. Girard's Toolbox. You can also motivate other people to look for clients for you, say, for 30 or 50% of your commission cars. You can negotiate with people in such professions who often communicate with their clients, such as hairdressers or stylists. If you are called to find out how much a car costs, never lower its price just to lure a person into the car dealership and, referring to a mistake, try to sell it for the real price. The buyer in this case will feel deceived. You can name the minimum price of a car without any additional costs, air conditioning, a navigator, and the like. That is, the price for which you can sell a car, making a discount on the amount that your commission will make. Thus, you will receive a box in your row, which will tell you about your acquaintances and people who listen to him. You can also offer him 50% of your commission for each client he brings. Will bring. Thanks to one box, Joe sold about 550 cars. Chapter 9. Direct conversation with the client. Make the client feel obliged. For example, if a person chooses a car, then invite him to your office under the pretext that there you can choose the best option for him and then offer him a cup of coffee or a glass of whiskey. If the client came with children, then you can give them a couple of sweets or give them an air balloon. In any case, you need to treat the client with something, because psychologically a person is inclined to answer for the service, and therefore he will probably buy a car from you. Chapter 10. How to sell smells. In new cars, customers are attracted to their smell, but some people do not want to get in the car because they are afraid to feel obliged. Therefore, in all possible ways, you should make the client sit in it. People generally, before buying, like to try things at work, touch them, hold hands, play with them, therefore let them do it. Chapter 11. Spying and intelligence. Always draw the client into the conversation. Thus, you will let him reveal himself to you. Ask him why he needs a car, what brand he would prefer. Why did he make this choice? Who advised him? If at work, where does he work? By receiving answers, you can delve into this topic. Thus, after talking, the client will begin to trust you. Chapter 12. Final capture. If you repair and sell TVs, you can use instant delivery. For example, you may be called and asked, "Can you repair their TV?" You must know all the information you need. How old is the TV? Who is the manufacturer? And so on. Then tell that you intend to come right now, and you want to bring a spare TV which the family can use while the old one is under repair. Here, as I understand, this method only works if the client's product is older than the Mammoth. And it turns out that the repair usually takes 2 weeks, and the client will get used to the new product and eventually want to buy it. But before you bring a new product to the client, you must first find out about its payment capabilities. That is, if you see that he lives in a hut, then probably you should not make such a gesture. Chapter 13. Victory after signing a deal. After the sale of the product, update your list of information about the client. Write down what he bought from you, when, in your opinion, it is worth calling him again to offer him additional services or update your product. Also, send the client a thank you letter and remind them that you will pay 50% if the person comes from him. A couple of months after buying the car, call your client and ask if everything is okay and if there were any problems with it. Also ask if any of his friends is going to buy a car. When you have a large flow of customers who will ask you, you will probably not have time to answer calls or send thank you letters. Therefore, delegate your responsibilities by hiring a student who also wants to start working in this area. Let him take on all the minor responsibilities and you are only targeting customers. Then, if the flow of customers will be too large, hire another person who will entertain them until the queue comes to them. For example, show cars or offer to ride them and so on. At the same time, he can, as if by accident, find out what kind of customer his old car is, what mileage, what the client is doing, and what his hobby is. And when the turn comes for him, your assistant will already give you all the information that he learned about him. This book came to an end. Subscribe to the channel, like, click on the bell, and leave any comment. Bye.